My name is Bishop William Curlin. I'm the retired bishop of Charlotte, North Carolina. There are many wonderful stories about the Blessed John Paul II, and they're very edifying and deeply moving. But I also remember little stories about him which showed the warmth of the man, the humanness of it all. I remember I was ordained a bishop on December 20th in 1988, and not too long after that, early part of the next year, I went with Cardinal Hickey to Rome. And at that time, it was a great privilege to meet the Holy Father, but also to have, dinner with him. And several times I had that privilege in the years to come. But that first time at the table, I remember so well an incident that I often share with people to show the humor of the Holy Father. He had given each of us a lovely cross, pectoral cross to wear, which I cherish. And on that occasion, I was wearing it at the dinner table, which was actually, the dinner was like, 1 o'clock or 2 in the afternoon in Italy. And at the table, the Holy Father, I noticed, there was no bread on the table, there was bread sticks, which easily break, and he seemed to like those. I know each time at dinner I would see breadsticks. But anyway, during the dinner, he took one of the breadsticks. I was actually right across the table from him, facing him, and directly in front of him. And he went to gesture to talk about something, and the bread snapped in half, and a piece of it hit on the table, bounced, then hit me in the chest right on that cross he had just given me. Without thinking, I smiled and said, "Holy Father, you're a dangerous man." With that, the cardinal next to me went, "Oh, dear Lord," or something like that. He was just shocked. I was just the Holy Father burst into laughter. He got a big kick out of it. Well, the next time I saw the Holy Father was World Youth Day out in the far west. And so, you'd see him, but they told us at the cathedral, all the bishops in the meeting, that the Holy Father, at the end would not meet us, but to change their minds. So, no, the Holy Father wants to meet each bishop present. Well, I noticed the bishops in front of me, I was told at the back of the cathedral, they were talking about how they knew him, and I said, boy, they must really know the Holy Father well. And so when we went up one by one, you take your staccato, the little red hat, you take it off, kiss Holy Father's hand, and move on. And I thought, boy, he'll know them well. Well, they just passed right on. Never said a thing to him. And then it was my turn to go up to Holy Father and the line. And just as I kissed his hand, he grabbed me and pulled him towards me and said, I'm a dangerous man. You want to fight? And I burst into laughter. I caught me off guard. And so cameras started flashing, and pictures being taken. The Holy Father was all smiling and everything. I don't know what we said. I was just so taken off by that. And it's just a joyful moment. When I got back to the pew where I was, these rather important-looking archbishops turned and looked towards me. And I said, I didn't want to tell you this. I've known the man for years. And we all burst out laughing. But the warmth of the man, the joy of it all. Then I remember, too, a very touching moment when he was first came to Washington. He had an ecumenical service, and that was at Trinity College, a beautiful, magnificent chapel they have. But when it was over, we had the sick. I was then had been instrumental as the president of the board of directors of Catholic Charities to open a home with Mother Teresa sisters for the people dying with AIDS and other illnesses who were more or less homeless, nowhere to go, and no family to take care of them. And when the Holy Father came out, he said, one of the priests who was very close to him told me that, he said, well, Holy Father, we'll keep over here. And he said, no. He saw the sick. He went over to them. And he knelt beside each one and, like genuflected, and spoke to them. And one poor young man was dying of AIDS. And the Holy Father bent over, and then he embraced him, whispered something to the poor boy's ears. And the young man never said what it was except this: he changed my life. He changed my life. He was just radiant with joy. There's such touching things of the Holy Father. I noticed that about him when he was in a crowd, of people, but yet the way he could contact people, and like you looked like you're the only one in the huge crowd that he was interested in. That personal warmth of the dear man, his great love, his great human warmth that he exuded. So it wasn't just, what we'd call a, great pontifical moment, But little things like that. I remember once that he said to me, "I would pray for you," and I smiled and said, for some reason, I said, "Where?" And he smiled and chuckled and said, "In my chapel, I pray for you, my brother." We were talking, and he said, "You brought joy and everything." Then my last visit with him, I was at his desk. I had my limited visit, the official visit you make, and it was a one-to-one a moment to be with the Holy Father in his office. And I was sitting facing him at his desk, and I realized all of a sudden I put my arm on his desk, since I didn't have, any rail in the chair. And with that, as I moved my hand, he grabbed my hand and said, "No, my brother, you put your arm on my desk," and kept patting it. So I just left it there. And after a while, he said to me, "You're a happy bishop." And I smiled and said, "Holy Father, you put me in Charlotte, North Carolina. I love North Carolina. People are wonderful. The priests, the people are wonderful. Very happy there." After a few moments, he patted my hand again. He had hold of it. He said, "A holy bishop?" I said, "No, Holy Father. You're the holy bishop, and I'm the happy bishop." And thinking the poor dear man was at the time, he laughed and just, he got the biggest kick out of that. But I tell you these things to show the warmth of the man, how he could touch your heart, how human he was, and the beauty of his humanness. So when you think of the Holy Father, yes, you might see him, beautiful pictures of him, and the pontifical garb, and very beautiful. But I always remember him, those little touching moments, those small moments that were not recorded, when you saw the love this dear man had, and how the warmth he had to touch people's hearts. So our Holy Father, he's blessed, but all the time I honor him now as Blessed John Paul. I also think of those wonderful moments when he touched my heart so deeply and reached out to me in such a human way.